This is the second video of this series MERN for beginners. In previous example or previous video, we have seen the API created for server side, that is for insertion and display. Now today in this video, we'll see the client side where we'll try to create one insert page and display page using React.js. So in previous video we have seen the server side portion. Now in this video we'll see the client side portion. So this is my blank client folder. So now I'll just open a new terminal, and what we need to do is this. We need to write down, say for example, first we need to install the React. For that I need to write down npx, you can see over here, create-react-app. So create-react-app, and I will just set down // means I want to install this in a current folder, right? So I'll just insert this. It will create a folder, or it will install the ReactJs for me. It will take some time. Okay, you can see over here my React is installed. Now next thing that we need to install, or we are going to use here, that is React Router DOM and Axios. So I'll just write down this. In this video, Axios is required, React Router DOM is not required, but later on we are going to use this, so I'm installing that. Okay, so my Axios and React Router DOM is installed. You can see over here in dependencies, Axios is installed, React is installed, then React DOM, React Router DOM, everything is installed. So now we are going to use this one. Now you can see over here, we have a src folder. Inside this I have a app.js folder, which we are going to use for our starting point, or it is considered as a starting point for me. So I'll just remove this middle portion from here. Say for example this header to header. Okay. So here we are, or we'll put some components. Right now, initially for this video, we'll just put one or two components. Then later on, when we add this header, menu and everything, at that time we'll add more component. We'll see the routes and navigation and everything, but right now just a simple thing. So I will just write down here, say for example, what we are going to do over here in this app.js, basically I'll just add one component over here. Say for example, I'll just write down create student, say for example, right? Whatever name that you want to give, you can give. And if you write down this, then first in src folder, what we'll do, we'll create one folder. Inside this, say for example, my folder name is component, and inside this component we'll create one file. The name is create student.js. okay, so this file we have created, so I need to import that first. So I just write down import, then I will write down create student from, I will write down / from where, from component / this one. So now I have imported that thing, and I have written this thing over here. Now our concentration will be on this file only, create student. First we want to insert our data into our database. That is our first and most important concern. So inside a component, I will go inside a create student, and here I will create a structure. say for example, I will write down, sorry, RFC, and I want to write a React function component arrow function. Say for example, I just write down this, and this way it will create this structure for me. Okay, so now this structure we are going to use for our first purpose. So we have included the React. First we'll try to create a, say for example, HTML portion of this. Okay, so what we'll do in that case, say for example, I'll just write down here in div and div. Say for example, I'll just write down div. We are using the inbuilt or whatever the thing that I have. Say last name equal to, and I'll show you this later on. Okay, what CSS I'm using, right? Then I will write down here header class name equal to app test. This is already we have with us. That is what I am using. I'll explain you or I'll show you in a minute. Okay, inside the header, I will write down, say for example, h3 student registration. Okay, so this is what we are going to do in this case. So I'll just create this fast label. Inside this label, I will write down, say for example, name. Okay, and then what we need a input tag for that. So just write down break over here. I'm creating very simple HTML form, not much CSS or anything. Simple HTML form. Here I will write down input type equal to, say for example, text, and then I'll just give a name equal to, say for example, I'll give a name because same field I'm going to use what we used in the previous slide. Then value will write down later on. I'll just write down required. Okay, and I think that is it for now. We'll add another things or required thing later on whenever it is required. So I'll just write down this much up to this point. So right, that is it. So what we can do here, I'll just write down slash and I will remove this not required. And here I will write down BR. So it will be something like this. Okay, now that's correct. I'll just make it a little smaller. I'll make it a little bit bigger so you can see it easily. So now my one label is ready. Same way I have to create for all other things. So what I will do now, just make it for email also. I think I must have remember the things. So what I will do, I'll just copy this up to this point, Control C, sorry, Control V. This is for email. Here I will write down email. Here also I will write down email, right? After this, I think the next one was phone. I think yes, phone, right? So just if you have not seen the previous video, please go through that so you can easily identify what I'm doing here. Then phone. Okay. After this, I think username. Here text, and here also I will write down username. After this, I will write down, say for example, password. My type is also password. Name is also password. Correct. So that way we have included everything. And one more thing that you need to add over here is what? Button. So I will just write down button. Then type is also button. Right. Then I will write down here submit, say for example. So this is my basic structure that I have created here. Okay, now just save this. So now here, what is required? When I click on submit button, I want to call one JavaScript method, say for example. So I just write down on click, and here I will write down, say for example, collect data, which is a method. When I click on submit, it should display, or it should call this method. Okay, so this is what the thing is. Then what we can do now, here in this case, say for example, we want a value also. So but before that, we'll start with our what you can say, how we can collect our data. So for that, we are going to use state for this. So here in this case, in return, before this return, I will write down. So before that, as I told you, we are going to use Axios for this. So I will write down here import Axios from Axios, right? And as I told you, I'm going to use useState also. So I'll just write down useState. Okay, so these are the things we are going to use it. Okay, so now next is we want to use these things, useState for this and Axios. So first we need to create this. So for useState, I will write down something like this. You can say const into bracket. First is name. You know that this thing. Then I will write down set name. This is a method that we are going to use. And here I will write down useState, and my values are blank. Right. So this is for my name. I'll just copy this. I think 5 times. Second, third, fourth, and fifth. Name. Then I think email. Then phone. Then username and password. Here I will write down set email. This is set phone. This is set username, and this is set password. Okay, so this is created my use states. Now what we need, basically try to understand, these are the methods, and we'll put from your text box, data will come into this method, and when the data is there in this method, that value will pass to this particular variable. This is the way the whole use state will work. So basically now again we need to go to our HTML portion, where we need to write down this, how we can get these values into our this set name, set email, and set phone methods. So I'll again come over here, and here I will write down, say for example, after required I will write down on change event. Here in on change I will write down, say for example, it will be a handler. So I'll just write down E, set anonymous function. So I will write down this way, and it will call one method. I will say for example, I will write down something like this, handle name, into bracket I will pass E, right? So this way you can directly write down also if you want, but I'm writing this way only. So I'll just write down this. We'll write down these methods above in a minute. So I'll just write down this, and here also I will write down. Here also I will write down, and here also. Okay. So here name, here I will write down email, here I will write down phone, here I will write down username, and here I will write down password. So basically what we are doing, one more thing that you need to add over here is value. So also I will write down here, sorry, value I will write down name. Here I will write the set name variables or set state variables, right? Then value equal to email. Here I will write down value equal to phone. Value equal to username, and here I will write down value equal to password. So now my values are set, my on change event is on. Basically what we are going to do here, whenever I write down something in a text box, whenever I keep this or whatever change I will do, this method will call. This method will handle that set state, this set name, set email, and everything will be handled by this method only. I'll just show you an example. So how to perform that task, say for example. So for that, what we will do, say for example, here I will write down after this, say for example, I will write down const handle, say for example, it's in name, right? And here I am passing, this is my method, so I will write down something like this, name equal to into bracket e I am passing, and my anonymous function I am writing over here. Here I will write down set name, right? Set name into bracket I will write down e dot target dot value. So what happens in this case now, try to understand, whenever I write down something in a text box here in name, so on change this method will call, and that method is written over here at the top here, something like this. So here when this method call, whatever character you are typing, that will go to this e dot target dot value, and it will go to the set name, and whenever that value will go to the set name, eventually it will go to this name variable. So now my name variable is set, the value will come in that variable. So same way I will write down now for 2 and 5. Okay, so set name, then I will write down here set email, here I will write down set phone, then I will write down set username, and one more time I need to copy, I think, and set password. So now my on change event is handled. So whatever you write down, it will come to this methods, and eventually it will go to this particular variables. So here also I need to name a change, the set email, then here I will write down set phone, set username, and here I will write down set password. Okay. So that way my values will be handled over here. Okay. So now the next thing, now my form is handled. Now I need to call that click event which I will return for my submit button, and where I will going to use my, or where I handling my database. So for that we'll write down const, the method name was, I think, collect data. Okay. It's an anonymous function, I'll just write down this way, arrow function, arrow method. Okay. You can write down this way if you want. Now here I will write down something like this. Say for example, we are going to use an Axios post in this case, because we are posting our data. So I'll write down let, say for example, insert data equal to Axios dot, say for example, post. Here I need to pass my API. If you remember that API, it was something like this, HTTP sorry, http://localhost:5000. Then I think it was, if you want to see that, let's check that thing. Here we have written somewhere, so I'll just open this, yeah, this one. So instead of this API it was student, so I'll just copy. So now here it is, student slash, I think it was sign up, right? So I'll just write down here sign up. Okay, and here I need to pass my variables. So I will write down something like this. Okay, so what variables I have to pass over here? This values. Which values? This name, email, phone number, username and password. So I will write down here name, then email, then phone, then username, then password, something like this. Okay. Okay, sample. Now I will check my records are inserted or not, so it will send you something in that case. So I will check something like this. What we can do in this case, say for example, we'll put this inside a try catch if I want, but fine, I'll do that. That will help you to understand how to write down a try catch also. So I'll just write down try. I'll delete that. Now here, after this, I will write down this. Then I will write down catch. What basically catch is doing? It's for error handling. So here I will write down catch into bracket, suppose error, right? What it will do? Console dot log into bracket error. Here also we'll do another things later on, but right now I think this is it. This way we have created this page. We have not tasted this page now, but we'll taste it also now, whether it's working or not. So I'll just go to the app.js. We have written this create student, and create student is also there. So now let's check how to do that. npm start. You can see this page. Our page is ready. Okay. Now, say for example, here I'll open this inspect here, and I will go to the console. And here I want to insert, say for example, I will write down meeting at yahoo.com 3989 not in yet. I will just write down meeting, and here I will run meeting 123, say for example, right? And then I'll click on submit. Okay. Now I've created submit, but it has showing a post error connection refused. What do you mean by this? My connection is not set. That's why I have done this thing. So what I need to do now, I need to open my server. So basically I will go to this. I'll go to the server. Here I will write down cmp code dot okay, and here I will write down node server.js. So my server is running now. So I'll again go to this page, and again I'll just remove all these things, and again I will submit this. Let's see whether any kind of error is there or not. It's not showing us, so just check this whether its data is there or not. So it was a Nitin record, right? So I'll just refresh this. And if you see this at the end, you can see my nicking record is with my database. Right. So this way I can insert my record. We have not done any kind of navigation or anything. This is just to explain you what we did for this particular thing. Insertion. We're not talking about navigation. We'll see that in the next series of this thing. But now just try to understand what we did for this particular thing. So say for example, try to understand what we did. In app.js, we have just created one component called create student. In create student, what we did first, we have created this. First, we created the HTML page where I have written this input text name. I have given the value, and on change event, I am calling one method, which method eventually what it is doing, it is just setting this, putting this value into set name p.target.value. Basically, we are using useState for this. So what I have written, constant name, this method name, we are writing set before this, and n should be capital, then useState, and initial value is blank. Same way I have written for this. So what happened in that case? Okay, whenever I write down something in a text box, this method is called, value will come over here from e.target.value, and whatever value will come, that will transfer to this variable name, and same way for other variables also. Right. So after that, when I put some values into this text box, and I click on a submit button, which will call this collect data method. What collect data method will do? It will do something like this. It will try catch. It will call one Axios post where I'm calling one API for sign up, and I'm passing all this value to my API. Right. Eventually, it will insert that data into the database. Right. And that way we are, and if there is some error, it will put that error into a console.log, and it will display in our command prompt or in a console page. So that way this whole page will be there. Okay. Now the next thing that we can do over here is we want to display this reports, right, on the screen. So right now also I'll just make this something like this. Here I will write down, say for example, display student, and right now I'll comment this just to explain how to make a comment. I'll put this curly brackets, and then I'll write down slash star, and I will write down star slash. So now it is commented. Okay, so this way I have commented. There is one error over here, so we'll check this, what kind of error that we are getting over here. This place window is not defined. Fine. Okay, we'll see this in a minute. So here I will write down import display student from, it will not be there right now, but I'll just write down COMP slash display student. Okay, and here I will add one file here, this display student.js. Okay, so now this page is ready. So now we'll see how we can display our student here. So now for that, what we need to do, here also we are going to use Axios only to take a record, but say for example, first I will write down arrow function will take, so this one, fine. I have installed the React first, then I need Axios also, so I return the Axios also. Then what I need, as I told you, import, I need useState and say for example use effect also from React. These are the things required. Use effect already installed, that's why. So, what mistake? Okay, sorry. I'll just remove this, and here it should be a curly bracket, right? Now it's fine. Okay. So now here, what we want to do? Some data will come from our API, and data that data is coming that directly we cannot use. We need to put in some variable. So that variable we need to use state for that. So from our API, some data will come. With the help of our use state, we'll put that data into one variable, and that variable will use for display. So what I will do in that case, constant, say for example data, then I will write down set data, okay, equal to, say for example use state, and my value is blank initially. Okay. After that, as I told you, if I have to set something, in this case I need to use a use effect, because it is basically used for before loading your component, before, after, in between, and there is some garbage, okay, not exactly garbage, but there is some data that you have that you want to display on your screen. For that you need to use effect, right? For insertion, use effect is not required because we are just inserting a data, but here we want some data, so in between we are doing some process, so for that use effect is required. So use effect, then I will write down here something like this, then I will use this arrow function for this, something like this, and here I am going to write down everything. So say for example const get data equal to this one, okay. So here we are going to write down things. Say for example const result equal to Axios dot get, and we have our API. Which API I am going to use? http://localhost 5000 /student/ I think it was get data, I think, or this student will check that. Just a minute. So I will go to this and we'll see here it is this students, right? So here I will write down, say for example this students, okay. So and after this nothing is required. Okay. So now I'm using get Axios get method to take our data. Now after having our data with us, what I need to do, very simple, I need to call this set data method, and here I have to just pass result. So for that result dot data that I have to pass, right? Now my data is with now the set data, and now after set data this will go to this data and it will display everything on our screen. Now if you want, you can put everything into a what you can say try catch also if I want. So if I want to write down, say for example try, I will write down this way, then after this I will write down this, here I will write down catch into the error, here I will write down this, and here I will write down what I will write down, and console this. So I will write down console.log into bracket error. So now my catch, try this is catched, and after this basically use effect is over. This is use effect constant. This is my try to understand what I need to do now. Say for example, I want to call this get data inside a user, this use effect. So this is a use effect. Say for example, this one is use effect. Here inside this, I will call this get data, and here I want only one time I want to use this. So I will write down here blank array. Just if you don't know this thing, if you don't know this use effect, then just go through the use effect. You will understand why I have written this practically. But for this one-time rendering, this is required. So this is what we have written now. Okay. So after this, what I need to do, I need to display this data value, whatever I have in my data on my screen. Right. So how to do this? So basically, what I'm going to do here, I'll just create one more method that is constant. I'll just write down student record equal to data dot map method of JavaScript, and here I will pass D, one record. From several records I want to display one record over here. Right. So what I need to write down now, here in this case, say for example, I will write down here return. Inside this return, I am creating one row. We'll use this later on. Here I will write down, say for example, 2D into 5. So this is my record. So I will write down. So okay, I'll just write down this. And inside that, I will write down D dot. Then I'll just remove this now. So D dot, say for example, name, email, phone. This is the thing, and then here I think this is not required. We'll write down this. Right now I'm just writing this edit and delete. We'll see this later on. Right. So this is my data, that table that is ready. TR basically, but we are going to use this below in our this return statement div. So here I will create a table. So I will just write down table class name equal to table, and I will write down table test. I think it will not work right now because I have not installed the bootstrap. Later on I just know this thing, so I'm just writing this. Here I will write down, basically it's not required also, but that's okay. I will write down th into 5. Here I will write down, say for example, name, email, phone, edit, and date. And after this tr, I will call that method. Which method I'm talking about? I'm talking about this method. This method, student record. So I'll just copy this. You can directly write down here also if you want, but this is a better way to implement that. It's simply you have to put in a curly bracket, so whole data will come over here. Okay, so that way I can call this thing, or I can display this thing. Make sure the export is there. Yeah, export is there. So basically now my thing is ready, I think. So I'll just save this and it is showing me a one error. So we'll check which error is coming. It's showing me a module not found, can't resolve this also some error, spelling mistake is there. So I'll just check this what error is, where I have displayed this one. So that is fine. Display student, just go to the app.js. Here I have this. It was wrong. So make sure you first create your JS file and then write down this. Then it will not make any kind of problem over here. Okay. So now it's not showing us anything right now. So I'll just go to inspect. I go to the console and it is showing some error. Page not found, Axios error, unquote promise, and something is written. Okay. So basically the problem is with this promise. So the promise is, say for example, we need to handle this, right? So here in this case, say for example, it is here only, I think, yeah. In create student, okay, sorry, in display student, the promise is not handled. So basically what you need to do, you need to use await and async. I have deliberately not written that thing just to explain you that this kind of error you will get. So what I need to write down here, say for example, I will write down here get data, and this get data should be, say for example, async, and this get should be await, say for example. Okay, so I will save this and let's see whether it is working or still it's giving us some kind of error. So it's -1 is coming. First I will just first this thing, I'll just make it this way. So again it is giving us an error. Get attribute student is not found. So display student was not found. Something is like this. So again basically I need to check what API that we have created. Say for example it was this one. It was not this one. Okay, we'll check this. What is written over here? Display student, not the display student. So I'll just go to this page again, and here I will write down display student, not the student. I'll save this. Now we'll check this. Again it is giving us error. Data local compare, unquote type error on this. See why I am showing you these errors, because it is required to understand what kind of error it is. The above error occurred in the display student component, right? This one. Consider the adding an error boundary. This unquote type error. This is unquote type error. Data located compare is not function. Data locate compare is not a function on 19th line. So now we'll go to the 19th line, because everywhere this 19th line is displaying, right? So just go to this 19th line now and just check what kind of problem you are getting over here. So here, what is this? Okay. Why this? It should be a map. Why this is something like this? Data should dot. I don't know from where that is came. I'll just again clear this and we'll check. We'll refresh this. Still it is giving data.map is not a function. Data.map is not a function. So again we are doing some issue, we are getting some kind of issue, so we need to check this. Okay, what is the problem over there? Okay. So here just a second, we'll need to understand what is the issue. it's showing us a data.map is not a function, but okay, the problem is here. It should be array because we are taking this value something like this. So now I think now it should be. We're checking this now, compile successfully, and now you can see my data is coming over here, right? So these are some issues that you need to solve before doing all this thing. So basically this is just to display again, and just put here also you need to do one thing. I just want to tell you. I just want to tell you one thing. Here when we use this Axios in this create student, at that time also you need to write down that wait async. Basically async is required in this case in case of insert. So if you want you can write down async over here. If you don't write down still it will work, but it should be written. So just try to understand what we are doing here. Here we are using this useState and React and Axios for inserting the data. First we have created our HTML with name, value, and on change event we are calling one method, and on submit we are calling one collect data method. So now here we have created useState, file useState. This is a method. Whatever data is coming in that method, that will be go to this particular variable via useState. So that way we are passing our data to these variables, and then in this axios.post we are inserting our data to this thing to the database, say for example. And if you want you can write down here also console.log insert data, or so you can display that thing, but that we'll see later on. Right now it is not required, and if error, then error will be there. Now after inserting the data we want to display that records. So React Axios use state and use effect we are using. For getting a data, use effect is required, right? Then we are creating one use state where whatever data is coming from here, that will be put in this user this set data method, and from set data it will go to this array of object, and that we are with the help of map we are displaying in the tr, and eventually we are calling this method set record in our original HTML code here, and that will display our record on the screen. So this way the whole insert and display work. Now in next lecture or next video we'll see login, and after that we'll see the navigation. So this way we are creating this whole series.